Hey everybody, Riot Mort back with the final patch rundown of Monsters Attack, patch 13.11. This is it, we've made it to the end of our 8th set, pretty crazy. It's time for the final patch before we move on to the next set. Now, as usual, the final patch is something where we do a little bit of interesting stuff. We're willing to loosen the reins a bit on our competitive integrity, but we still want to make sure people, who are pushing for Challenger and trying to end the set at like those high ranks, still have a good experience, so nothing too wild here. The other thing to note is we've already, shipped out our kind of big for fun patch with the portals. Nothing's really changing there, but we do have some changes that should hopefully make the last 2 weeks, a chance to remember Monsters Attack fondly. So let's dive right in and see what we got in store. First off, as I mentioned, it's the final patch of the normals with portals. And now there are so many portals. You will now see 3 portals every game. So maximum portals. Which portals they are is still variant per game, but this is going to be a lot of bonus stuff. So if you're looking for a pretty wild game, now's the time to get in some games and see what can all appear. Should be pretty wild and should allow you to reach some of those peaks that you maybe have a harder time hitting, something like that 7 Infiniteam or whatever you want to go for. So have fun with that if you're looking to end this up and finish your battle pass. All right, on the trait side, a very small nerf. These are the only 2 nerfs in the entire patch. The small nerf to Infiniteam at 3 and 5. Currently, it's just a little strong, allowing you to dominate the early game and then push forward. We're happy with 7 Infiniteam, that being worth the chase, but just a small adjustment there to make sure that it's balanced compared to everything else. Star Guardian also similarly gets nerfed, though for a different reason. It's not that Star Guardian is dominating, but Star Guardian has gained a new ally, and with that new ally, the trait points are easier to hit, so we do have to bring them down in power. So you'll see that a little bit later, but those are the only 2 nerfs in the entire patch. Beyond that, Quick Draw, 3 and 4. The Quick Draw vertical, ever since Lucian kind of got resolved and Misfortune got resolved, isn't as strong as we want it to be. The augments are not exciting to chase after, so Quick Draw gets buffed up, so that if you want to go that 4 Quick Draw with something like your Ezreal, Lucian, or Misfortune, you can do that, and it'll be a little bit better. Alright, on the champion side, Gangplank still not really had his moment to shine here, so he's going to get a little bit of extra attack speed, allowing him to get that mana and get some casts off a little bit better if you want to go something like a Gangplank reroll. Base attack speed is one of the biggest buffs you can get because it gives you, the extra physical damage, the extra spell cast, things like that, so that should help Gangplank. Kale also, we had done this buff originally and then had to pull it back with the duelist attack speed thing, but now Kale's going to get some of that power, so Kale's spell will hit a little harder, so if you're looking to play Underground, Kale won't be quite as much dead weight as she was before. Lucian gets a very light adjustment. This isn't even a spell buff. This is just his passive on-hit damage. Maybe it'll open up some more builds where you play something like a Ginsu's Lucian or a Static Shiv Lucian. But overall, just a bit of a buff to his passive damage, not his spell damage. Lux, we've seen Lux carry basically fall out of the meta completely, ever since the targeting change, and that's not changing here. At 1 and 2 star, she's still very good, but we do have to kind of compensate for Star Guardian coming down in power early. And more importantly here, we want to try 3-star Lux being a carry. So we are breaking our normal 50% framework here and allowing 3-star Lux to hit pretty hard. So maybe if you get that Lux carry augment and you want to try that this final patch, go right ahead. This is a really big buff for 3-star Lux only. Let us know if it works. It might not be enough, but gives you a chance to say goodbye to Lux. Fiora, just not quite as tanky as we'd want. I know some people are going to be a little scared to see Oxforce get some extra love here. Mostly aimed at Duelist and Fiora, though. Maybe let the Fiora carry augment be a bit better. But she will be a little tankier during her spell. All right, Rammus. Rammus, we want him to go out on top here, so giving him a little bit of extra mana to cast more often. Maybe you get that second cast if you invest in Rammus, providing some good CC. And then, as my personal goodbye to Rammus, I had to do a massive, massive buff to his passive and give him 1 more armor as a way to say goodbye, Rammus, one more time. Won't see you next set, so stay out and never come back because I hate Rammus. And then Riven. Riven, we're buffing Riven's spell damage. Maybe open up some crazy AP builds if you want to try that mech Riven. But try to really lean into Riven's AP side of things and damage side. Also help Anima a little bit here, so Riven gets to hit a little bit harder on her spell. Alright, on the 4-cost side, Aatrox, same thing. This is a pretty minor buff, but it's going to allow Aatrox, you know, about a 10%, 15% buff on his spell. Both casts, just to make sure he can hit a little harder. He's not going to be, you know, any more tanky or anything like that, so if you were struggling with Aatrox as a tank, that's not going to change. But maybe his hero augment allows him to carry more and hit harder. Bel'Veth, another minor buff here, but Bel'Veth just a little below the line, so going to get a 5% per attack speed per cast, allowing her to ramp up quickly and do even more damage as we say goodbye to Bel'Veth. Neeko, kind of similar to Lux here with the Star Guardian nerf, and Neeko's never really been the star. She's been a great secondary carry, but going to give her a small buff here to make sure that maybe she can have some moment in the spotlight and really invest in Neeko as a primary carry, especially compared to someone like Twisted Fate. Warwick has done well. Warwick doesn't necessarily need a major buff, but his spell just doesn't quite feel chunky enough. So we're buffing his spell a bit so he can rip in and hopefully with some good items and a good admin can do some big damage instead of being so reliant on Laser Core all the time. So hopefully that helps Warwick be kind of a star. Fiddlesticks, we're saying goodbye to the Corrupted Threat, so we want to give him some extra damage to make sure Fiddle is pretty exciting to hit. Leona is another cool one that has been a great utility champion, but by lowering her mana this much, she's going to do a lot of work, and maybe there's some really good Leona star builds that can really allow her to carry. Ultimate Ezreal to kind of compensate for the Infiniteam nerf and to make sure Ultimate Ezreal can say goodbye. We'll now have 64 AD, great number, good system, and a little bit more attack speed to help him cast. So he'll still have kind of the same weakness, which is struggling against like 3 stars and tanky champions, but that'll be it for Ultimate Ezreal. And then finally, probably the biggest change of the patch, Urgot. If you remember the cinematic at the very beginning of the set, where Urgot was kind of trying to like join the team and be a fan. Turns out he was a big fan of Star Guardians, and so, you know, he's finally done it. He convinced, he's joined the team and is now a Star Guardian threat. So we replaced his skin. This is mostly just the team being silly. You know, one of our teammates had a really good idea, and we said, sure, let's just do it. You know, put in a little bit of effort, and here we go. We have Star Guardian Urgot. The other change is his tooltip says he now, you know, makes friends along the way. So if his spell deals lethal damage, you will now get a chest that spawns giving a 1-star copy of that friend he made along the way. Now to compensate for this, we did have to nerf his mana a bit. So he'll cast a little less often, but I mean, a 6-star Guardian or 8-star Guardian Urgot will be sending friendship waves all day long. So just, again, a fun little goodbye here. Nothing major, just meant to be fun. And then on the augment side, we basically went through and found a few underperforming hero augments and gave them a buff to say goodbye to the hero augment system. Lucian support, more AP. Poppy support, bigger shield. Renekton carry, more attack speed. Wukong support, more mana restore. Should be some fun Star Guardian Wukong support again. Fiora carry, we saw Fiora get that buff, so Fiora carry might be really scary this patch. Malphite carry kind of got over-nerfed back in the day, so getting some of that armor damage back. Shen carry, Time Knife, ever since that Defender nerf, little underperforming, so can get that Shen carry going again. Bel'Veth support, summoning those Voidlings, now having more health. Echo carry, a personal favorite, does a bit more damage. Echo support, this is one of the more interesting ones, but the stun will now happen a little earlier, which is good, and will last a little longer. Misfortune support, usually tied to the performance of Misfortune, who's kind of underperforming right now, but getting a bunch more gold is always fun, so have some more gold. Neeko carry, again, Neeko never really the star, but having a little bit bonus AP will be cool. This is probably the second biggest change in the patch, but Janna support, now instead of doubling the Janna weather bonus, will triple it. So I expect to see some Janna support stuff with whether it be sunny or windy, and do some pretty wild stuff here with Janna support, so that's a big one. And then the Syndra carry augment, just giving her almost double the amount of attack speed she was getting now, so maybe some cool Syndra builds you can do there. And again, just a lot of buffs, give you something to play with in the final 2 weeks of the set, as you try to finish your pass, finish your climb, hit your high rank, get your ranked rewards. And that's it. That's it for Monsters Attack. It's the final patch. We got through another set. Hope you all enjoyed it. you know, the learnings article is out now. You can take a look at that. Otherwise, previews are starting, and it's going to be wild as we move into the next set. So, yeah, as always, we'll look back fondly on Monsters Attack. Some things we learned, some things we did. It was a lot of fun. So, all right, that's it for now. Until next time, we start back up and more patches and another set and things like that. So, all right, that's going to do it for me. Until next time, take it easy.